I am so glad you are here for It Is Alive on Wednesday at May Books. I'm Liz. Let's get down to what's going on and what's new. So, what am I wearing first? Well, I added a couple of pieces of labradorite to what I'm wearing for this broadcast. This one's flat, right? This this one's faceted. And labradorite is all about protection, glamour, including that fairy magical sense of glamour. Oh, it is about spirituality and transformation, connecting with your higher self, magic, and being effective with your magic, which is amazing. Um, oh, sorry, I'm getting a little notice here. What does this say? There's a problem with Facebook. Oh, please check Facebook. Okay, let's check them out. Let's take a look at Facebook. Let's check out what's going on there. What is happening on poor Facebook? Of course, if it's not live, I'm not really sure how to fix that. All right. Well, and re-add it. Oh, okay. Let's remove Facebook. Remove. And then can I add it back in? Let's give it a try. All right, let's see if that works, Facebook folks. Let's see if we get you back. In any event, I was talking about labradorite and higher powers, effective magic, protection, glamour. It's a beautiful stone as well. I just want you to see those facets. Isn't that gorgeous, the way it glints and changes color in the light? It's just gorgeous stuff. So, obviously, we have plenty of it. Oh, still having trouble with Facebook. I'm so sorry, Facebook people. You're going to have to find us on YouTube and kick. Oh, well, what am I drinking today? Well, I'm just finishing up steeping it. It's pretty simple today. I just have some burdock and eleuthero. That's my favorite of the adaptogens. Burdock is one of my favorite herbs associated with liver and pancreatic function, as well as to some degree the kidneys and other things, as well as a little bit of borage, which is probably best known for its effects, positive effects on the endocrine system as a whole. So if you're interested in learning more, of course, sign up for the 3-year program. Year 1 starts in September. We'll see you soon, I hope. But in the meantime, what is new in the shop? Well, we've got a bunch of really good used books in from a few people cleaning up their estates. Oh, I forgot about this beautiful necklace I am wearing. Let me show it off. Oh, so pretty. Also, labradorite. In one of the estates was a collection of completely unused blank books. So they're all going to be one of a kind for the most part. There's really very few doubles at all. But this was an artist. So she had a huge collection of blank books that she just didn't get around to using. And they're all in as new condition, but they're definitely priced to move. I mean, this is priced at $7.99. The only one, though, right? There are a number of cloth-covered books, each with their own pattern and design. Looking on hatching a new idea, we got you covered. And then I love this one for the gnarly leather look. But there are different sizes. There are different designs, all kinds of stuff. There are a couple that, like, one was a little sun-worn in a few spots. One was a little ratty. Those are going into grab bag land. But the rest are all coming up on the floor, and I have so many, I can't fit them out. So if you're looking for blank books, not only are those available, but we've got a few that we've ordered in from an importer, and a beautiful local maker has put together some nice smaller ones. They're 5x7. They're just saddle papered. They're pretty, and there's lots of good, like, lightweight art paper in them, so that if you want to do drawings, paintings, in addition to writing, or instead of writing, those books are going to be great, especially if you're working on something where you want a concentrated notebook where that's really the focus of that particular journal that you're keeping, particular spell working maybe. You write down the spell that you do, and then you keep track of how it performs for you over time. Do you reinforce it by repeating it? You can just keep track in one of these nice 5x7 jobs. They're fabulous. I don't know, 30 pages or so. I didn't count, but some of them are art paper, not just drawing paper, but some of them are like pretty pieces that are in as well. So some of them have natural dividers as a result. They're just pretty. They're just pretty. You'll just love them. But the other things this person has brought in, her work actually. And this is from Dark Moon Dragon Feathers. Where's the front? There's the front. So for those of you ladies who have enjoyed the hoo-ha salve, come get your happy hoo-ha salve. We've got a few jars, a few pots in. And for those of you who have discovered her beard oils, and we've talked about these before, they come in 2 fragrances. There is the Woodland Wonder beard oil, and there is a citrus beard oil. They're both fantastic, both like scents that you could see on a guy, even stereotypically, especially the Woodland Wonder, but they're refreshing, they're light, they're just beautiful, beautiful fragrances that you'll enjoy wearing if you're sporting a beard and just want to calm down that tougher hair. This is Dark Moon Dragon Feathers is also responsible for these beautiful powders. So this is the protection powder that she's offered. This is the sigil powder for when you're making your sigils and you want to dry the ink with a little bit of powder. This is a great way to do it. Or you can also just do a sigil where you lay down your design in glue and put the powder over it. Fabulous. Imagine that pale sigil powder on a deep blue paper or green, or fabulous. And you get art that is your magic. Just straightforward eggshell powder is available as well for its protective properties. And this is a traditional sprinkle for protection of all kinds. Imagine all of those exercises that people have done through the centuries where they imagine themselves in an egg of energy as a protective measure. The eggshell just reinforces that whole set of concepts. And then I believe this is the newest one, is the banishing powder. You want to get rid of someone, you're doing magical working to end something and remove it, excise it from your life. Banishing powder is a great additional tool to use. And the other line that she does, and does so beautifully, are her inks. Now, before I even name them, just let me say, no animals were harmed in the making of these inks. These are traditional magical inks, and she has definitely added to them, which I'll show you in a second. But they are named for the magical intent behind them and how the ingredients influence that magical intent. So if you're having a hard time seeing your way through a situation, her Owl's Blood ink, again, no animals were harmed. Her Owl's Blood ink is designed to help you do exactly that. See your way through a difficult situation, a situation where maybe you can't figure out what the solution should be. Dove's Blood ink is also made by these folks, this beautiful lady. And Dove's Blood is usually used for all kinds of magical working that you would in fact associate a dove with. So peace, love. Oh, and she always has a little swatch card so you can see what the ink will look like. And I don't know if you can see, I don't know how well the camera conveys it, but there's a little bit of mica in here. So it has a little glittery glow to it. So she does not recommend that you wear these or eat these. That would not be a good idea. And I wouldn't use them in a calligraphy pen either, just because there's something in there that can scratch up the inside of it. Now, if the Dove's Blood did not go far enough and you need more, you want fertility involved in what you're working on, fertility of childbirth, fertility of ideas, fertility of work, fertility of imagination, Rabbit's Blood. That's your friend. Now suddenly you want Rabbit's Blood, which is going to come out with this pale blue sort of color to it. And we have the more traditional Bat's Blood. Having problems with somebody, need to send a strong message to leave your life? This is the way to do it. Absolutely. Dragon's Blood, which just adds a little verve to whatever you're doing. It just amps up the magical power of what you're working on beautifully. And Raven's Blood. Did you need some help in this area? We got you. We got the Raven's Blood. And I'm going to show you the bottom. Do you see all the silvery, like glittery stuff in there? It's a natural mineral, but you got to really shake these guys up and get that reincorporated into your ink for your best results. Now, because I do say no calligraphy pens, I get asked, well, how do you use them? I have, and I like this method. I have used Q-tips for these. I find I can write with a Q-tip. I can draw with a Q-tip. It soaks the ink up really well. It distributes it really evenly. So that's my preferred method. But you might find that you have like a simple dip pen rather than one that has like a tube, just a simple dip pen where you dip and you write until the ink runs out and you dip and you write again. They all work great. I would also say if you've got gloves, finger painting would also do fine. That's some of the stuff that's come in recently. We've got a few other gems and goodies out there, of course, for you guys. And I cannot say enough about the used books we've been getting in lately. We've been seeing people downsizing or clearing like a departed spouse's works. And so I have a slew of fascinating books on Buddhism and Tibetan, like reading Tibetan, understanding the grammar, understanding the language. So I have 3 boxes of fabulous used books and a 4th box of really affordable used books that are mostly focused on Buddhism. And we've also got all of the wonderful books from another estate that's really strongly focused on paganism and Afro-Caribbean history, and really fascinating documents in there. So not just books, but clearly like it's maybe the 80s and somebody's photocopied something and hole punched it and put a spiral binder in it, and that's the book. But it's a really important contributors to that community's lecture that they gave back in the day. So it'll be a fascinating look if you're interested in that stuff. Rosanna, if you're seeing me, I'm talking to you. You're going to love some of this. But come in, check out the new space, check out what we've got. We're working on finishing up the last pieces of physical transformation we need in this space so we can do a nice grand opening party. So get ready for that. I'm hoping that's coming soon, please. And I've been hoarding things for grab bags. So when we do our grand reopening, I think we might have some grab bags for you all as well. And I'm excited for that. Now, you'll notice I have no guests today. It's true. And I was listening to a few people online just to see like what people are talking about today. And I loved a topic that came up that I think is really important, especially in the communities that we interact with here at the shop. And it is, who's allowed to believe a thing? And what do you have to believe to do magic? And what is magic, by the way? Because I'm going to look at you and say that saying the Our Father is an incantation. It's absolutely a spell. And it's one you invest a lot of time in if you're in the religions that use that prayer. I don't think there's a big distinction between prayers from other cultures and other religions and prayers from Christianity, or the version that I was raised in, at least. So I think that when you invest into a particular faith, a particular religious practice, it can enhance your magical working because they can be tied together, as in saying a particular set of words. You have to say those words, right? So that makes those words magic words at that point. You say those words, you get this kind of worship accomplished, or this kind of intent across. Like when someone prays for another person, that's a spell in my book. I don't see a difference between that and the spell work someone does. They're both working for the betterment of the person that they're praying for or casting their magic for. So I view that as very similar working. Having faith in a particular deity that you pray to, I think that enhances the magic for some. For others, I don't think it matters. I don't think it makes a difference. I don't think you have to be invested in a particular religion in order for your magic to work. I think the core thing you have to believe in is the magic you're doing, and that it will and must be effective. I think if you apply that logic, then I think that you're going to be an effective magic worker, whether it's tied into a faith system you worship, that you worship within, sorry, that it's tied to a faith system that you have invested in or not. So if every time You play for your company softball team, you wear the same pair of socks. That's magic. I don't think you've tied any particular faith to it, but it's magic. If whenever you do a healing spell, you involve a deity known for healing or an angel known for healing, that's a spell, but it's a spell with faith attached, with religiosity attached. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with not doing it that way either. I often tell people when they're doing a spell that is very much like going to the movie theater or to see a play. Don't pick apart the performance, the structure, the costuming, the set, the anything about it while you're watching it. While you're watching it, immerse yourself in the world that's being presented to you. Allow yourself to respond emotionally to all of the nuance that's happening in front of you. Invest fully in the experience. And then later, after the performance is over, by all means, pick it apart to your heart's content, but not while you're in the moment. Magic works the same way. Be in the moment. I think it's one of the reasons so many religions and spiritual practices and meditative practices have all focused on getting people to be present in the here and now rather than making their grocery list while they're supposed to be meditating, praying, what have you, incantating. So magic to me starts with firm belief that there is no other possibility but the outcome you're looking for. Does that mean it's always going to work? I think it depends on what you're praying for, who you are, and how much you practice. And I think it's that easy. Because I do think part of understanding magic, and I think as people grow in their understanding of magic, again, whether they're praying for people or lighting candles or setting stones in particular pattern, I don't care what methodology you use. We're talking about figure candles on Tuesdays, on Magical Tuesdays. And one of the things I will talk about is if you want a relationship to grow closer, you start with 2 figure candles that are far apart and light them for a little while every day, each day moving them closer and closer together. And conversely, if you want to end a relationship, you start with them together and burn them a little bit every day while you move them further and further apart, right? Whatever method you're using, as long as it means something to you personally, I think you will get better at magic and more in tune with what the universe wants for you. And I think that's a big factor too. If you are doing magic repeatedly, you're contemplating how the universe works, how to achieve your desired goals. And I think it slowly alters how you look at your desired goals. You have to come face to face when you practice magic with the idea that if you practice manipulative magic, you're inviting manipulation into your life, and that you too can wind up being manipulated more easily one way or another. And you can say, oh, other people are more stupid than me. I think as soon as you said that, you've admitted your own stupidity and I've confirmed that you're open to manipulation and being manipulated. So as you go forward with magical practice, I think you almost instinctively, for most people, they become more attuned to how the universe works, how to flow within the universe's grand stream of life energy, if you will. And I think that changes how you approach your magic over time. So it's no longer about, I'm going to do a spell so that that person wants to date me, but rather it starts to become, I'm going to do a spell so I am open to new loves and new relationships, a reimagining of how I'm going to receive and give love in the world. And that's a very different kind of spell. And suddenly you've opened yourself to possibilities that I'm going to do a spell to make somebody in particular love me could never bring you. You either will or will not succeed with that manipulative spell. Whereas if you're doing a spell in which you open yourself to relationships, to possibilities, to giving and receiving love, suddenly you might find someone new who pops into your life that you would have completely dismissed a week ago is somebody that looks at you and you see them look at you. and you go for it and you ask them out and you start a new relationship, or someone who's been with you all along that you never thought of romantically, you suddenly notice that you might be able to think of romantically and you begin to explore that possibility with that person. But you're never going to get that out of that. What I think of that is that baby beginner spell of, I want person X to love me. I'm going to cast a spell on them. I don't think it's ethical. I don't think it's smart. And I don't think it aligns with the flow of the universe. And I think when you move with the universe, you swim with the current, you get farther. If you swim across the current or swim against the current, you're expending a whole lot of energy doing things that you don't need to be doing to achieve goals that usually in the long run turn out to not be the goals you thought they were. And so they don't work out the way you think they were going to. And you end up disappointed, even if you did succeed. So I think when you're doing magic, what are you allowed to do? You're allowed to shape your universe. And what you do to other people in your prayer, in your magic, in your meditation, you're inviting to have done to you. I think that you're allowed to experience, read about, think about, emotionally respond to any religious or magical practice from anywhere in the world. We've talked about that before on here in other ways. Like we've talked about the idea that the English word smudge predates white people coming to this continent, coming to North America. So this is a practice that is indigenous to English speakers, even if it's largely been dropped by many of them. It was a practice. So can I smudge? Yeah. Do I want to call it that in this day and age and the social context that I find myself in today? Probably not. I'm probably going to say I'm burning incense, or I'm burning herbs for a magical intent, or I'm using essential oils for a particular purpose. But that is what it is. The fact that I use a different vocabulary word doesn't change the fact that I am using scent to affect my universe, to trigger something specific, and that some of that is in fact lodged in the simple chemistry of those plants as they are being burned, or those essential oils as they are being released into the air. I do like to use natural products, I will say that. So as you go forward, yeah, I want to go forward with sensitivity and awareness of other people's perspectives around me. But as long as I feel I'm approaching things with respect and I am open to conversation with somebody who maybe wants to be critical of my approach, I think I'm doing my best. And I think it's fair dues. I would also point out that if you are doing this in the privacy of your own home, and you're a nice white lady from, the suburbs of Wichita, yes, I'm picking random things, then who's going to know you did it? As long as you're doing it with a pure heart, a sense of respect for where that information's coming from, I'm not seeing the controversy there. Now, if you're going to put it online, you're going to get responses, and fair dues. You deserve to get responses. You stood on a random street corner, essentially, and shouted an opinion into the wind for anyone who happens by to hear. Some of those people are going to have responses that are strong enough that they're going to make comments or like or dislike what you're saying. Again, as long as you're coming from a good place and you're open to having those conversations when they're civil, I don't think you need to respond to haters, then I think you're in a good spot, not just to represent where you're coming from, but also to learn and grow in the process. And isn't that what most religions and much of spirituality is all about? I've often said, if a religion doesn't give you some joy, walk away. There should be joy in every religion that you practice. But if it doesn't challenge you to be a better person, walk away. The whole point really is to experience, reflect, and give the ultimate love of the universe to those around us, to ourselves, and to learn and grow from those experiences and from your exposure to new ideas. I often say that a faith unchallenged is not a faith at all, but a faith that has been thought about, where the person has sought out other opinions and listened and read and conversed. That's a faith that has strong foundation. And if it means you change your faith because as a result of the conversations, you're not where you started, that's okay too. That is part of that faith journey. So when you're practicing your magic, there are techniques. Techniques are universal. Humans are humans. We all figure this stuff out one way or another. Where we place it contextually in a spiritual language, that's a personal choice that is separate from the tool itself. I don't know a single society who hasn't figured out that if I repeat a short phrase over and over and over again in my mind or out loud, that it affects my mood for the day, that it affects how I interact with people for the day. That's magic, right? That's part of what magic is. That's the technique. Everybody figures that technique out. That's universal. That's human. And if you're going to say that's a mantra or that's a prayer, okay, use whatever word you want for it. But it's repeating usually a short phrase again and again and again to affect yourself and the world around you. Definition of magic. So lay over whatever cultural context you want for it and respect that other people have other perspectives. And I think you're in the right. I think you're doing a great job. I don't know if this helps for anybody out there, but since there's no interview today, I thought I'd rant a little about some of these things. Just as a reminder, we do have a book signing on Friday, so come check that out. That's Thomas Mooneagle. He's written a couple of really interesting books. One is Drumming Down the Runes, and there'll be a workshop on Saturday with him doing that same runic work. So if you're into runes at all or exploring Norse culture, definitely come and check out his work. Come meet him on Friday, sign up for the workshop. We will be having a blast. In the meantime, on behalf of myself, Liz, and all of the rest of the staff and crew here at Magus Books and Herbs at 2520 Central Avenue Northeast in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and at magusbooks.com. We thank you all for being your magical selves, and we look forward to seeing you here at the shop and online real soon. Come and check out some of our new readers, and otherwise, just have a fantastic day. You deserve it.